Overnight, the strategic map of the Ukraine conflict may have changed. New intelligence assessments and battlefield evidence indicate that Russia has deployed advanced long-range missile systems deeper into the war, systems capable of striking far beyond the traditional front lines. Defense analysts are calling it one of the most consequential escalatory moves in recent months. This is not simply another missile launch. It signals a potential shift in military doctrine, expanding the battlefield, shrinking response times, and forcing defense planners across Europe to recalculate their risk assessments in real time. What exactly has been deployed? How far can these systems reach? And why are experts warning that this development could reshape the trajectory of the conflict? In this report, we examine the weapons, the strategy behind their timing, and the far-reaching consequences that may unfold in the days ahead. The changing face of Russia's arsenal since its full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022, Russia's military posture has continually evolved, shaped by battlefield realities, production capacities, and geopolitical pressures. According to Russian leadership statements, the country has dramatically increased weapons and ammunition output, accelerating production of armored vehicles, aircraft, drones, and rocket artillery, an effort described as a response to ongoing combat demands. In 2025, Russian officials claimed that more than 1,000 new types of military systems and upgraded equipment were tested and deployed for frontline evaluation, ranging from air defense systems to unmanned aerial vehicles and electronic warfare platforms. While exact battlefield effects vary, this industrial expansion underscores Moscow's focus on sustaining prolonged high-intensity conflict and adapting to shifting tactical landscapes. One of the most consequential developments reported late in 2025 was Russia's deployment of the Oreshnik intermediate-range ballistic missile system in neighboring Belarus, a close Russian ally. Belarusian leadership confirmed the arrival and planned combat readiness of these missile systems, capable of striking targets hundreds of kilometers away with conventional or potentially nuclear-capable payloads. The Oreshnik occupies a sensitive space in European security calculations. Unlike shorter-range battlefield missiles, it challenges historic limitations on intermediate-range systems that were once constrained under the now-defunct Intermediate-Range Nuclear Forces (INF) Treaty, an arms control pact that both Russia and the United States abandoned in 2019. Experts note that deploying Oreshnik in Belarus places much of Eastern and Central Europe within striking distance, potentially complicating NATO air defense planning and raising the stakes for deterrence and crisis escalation. While there is no public evidence that these missiles have been used in combat operations to date, their stationing near NATO borders represents a strategic positioning shift. On February 26, 2026, visual confirmation emerged showing fragments of the 9M729 cruise missile in western Ukraine. The 9M729 was central to the collapse of the INF Treaty and is capable of striking targets over 1,200 kilometers away. Images of debris and expert analysis confirmed multiple documented uses of this system in combat, signaling Russia's continued operational reliance on these intermediate-range platforms. Analysts suggest the frequency of these missile strikes reflects Moscow's strategic choice to leverage such weapons where other munitions may be exhausted or less effective. Alongside the 9M729, the Oreshnik system has likely been used in battlefield contexts, though reports are still being verified. Both missiles can carry conventional warheads, making them potent tools beyond nuclear deterrence roles. The deployment of these missiles means that even areas far from the front lines are no longer safe, as critical infrastructure, supply hubs, and population centers can now be targeted. Their speed and precision compress reaction times, leaving defenders little opportunity to respond. For civilians and military planners alike, this creates a persistent climate of uncertainty and fear, where the next strike could come at any moment. Recent weapon deployments are not isolated technical changes, they represent a psychological and strategic escalation. Systems like intermediate-range missiles have dual roles: battlefield utility and deterrence signaling. Their deployment can influence negotiation leverage, alliance responses, and global military postures. Moreover, the mere possibility that such missiles can carry nuclear payloads, whether used or not, amplifies global security concerns, feeding into broader debates on nuclear doctrines and escalation thresholds. Placing advanced missiles in Belarus directly affects European security calculations. While Belarus is not a NATO member, its territory under Russian control expands Moscow's operational zone closer to European capitals. In this context, NATO's air defense networks and early warning systems must account for greater missile coverage and reduced reaction time should conflict widen. The combination of long-range strike systems and Russia's claims of developing even more advanced weapons, including hypersonic missiles and potential space-based nuclear platforms, has prompted Western military analysts and alliance planners to revisit defense postures and modernization plan. While much attention is on Russian deployments, the conflict has also seen significant military actions from Ukraine that influence strategic balance. Ukraine has conducted deep strikes into Russian territory using domestically developed long-range cruise missiles, targeting key industrial and missile production facilities. These operations have reached over 800 miles into Russian territory, demonstrating Ukraine's expanding strike capabilities. Ukrainian forces continue to leverage Western-supplied systems and indigenous innovations to disrupt Russian supply lines and air defenses. This persistent pressure forces Moscow to adjust tactically, deploying advanced missile systems in part to counter evolving threats on the ground. This interplay illustrates that the game change in weapons deployment is not solely about weapons introduced by Russia, but the evolving balance of long-range systems on both sides. Prolonged technological warfare weapons like the 9M729 and Oreshnik indicate a shift toward technology-driven warfare, where range, speed, and precision increasingly define outcomes. As both Russia and Ukraine deploy long-range systems and drones, traditional front lines blur and strategic infrastructure, power grids, transport hubs, and command centers becomes vulnerable. This transformation means that battles are no longer just about holding ground. Deep strikes and rapid maneuvers allow both sides to influence the conflict far from the front lines, making strategic planning more complex and high stakes than ever before. Diplomacy under strain, advanced missile deployments complicate negotiations. The presence of long-range systems makes ceasefires and territorial agreements harder to achieve, as each side gains leverage and the threat of rapid escalation grows. Diplomats now must account not only for troop movements but also for the reach of technology. Even discussions of compromise carry the weight of potential immediate retaliation, limiting the room for careful negotiation and increasing global tension. Russia's focus on diverse weapons, from drones to missile systems and electronic warfare, reflects a wider global trend toward multipolar military competition. Other nations observe these developments closely, learning lessons about long-range strike capabilities and modern warfare. The Ukraine conflict has effectively become a testing ground for emerging military technologies. How these systems perform in real-world conditions will likely influence defense strategies and procurement decisions for years to come. Russia's recent weapon deployments illustrate a complex web of strategic calculations. Increased production and frontline testing of advanced systems demonstrate Moscow's commitment to sustaining the war effort while adapting to evolving threats. Stationing intermediate-range systems like the Oreshnik in Belarus marks a geopolitical shift, with far-reaching implications for European security. Confirmed use of long-range cruise missiles has shown these systems are not theoretical tools. They are deployed in ongoing combat operations. The battlefield remains dynamic, with both Russia and Ukraine pushing technological boundaries and extending the reach of their weapons. As the war continues, the significance of these weapon deployments will shape not only the conflict's outcome, but also the future of global military power. Russia's latest systems are more than technological upgrades. They are changing the battlefield, redefining strategy, and raising the stakes for both sides. What happens next is uncertain, but in modern warfare, every deployment and strike matters. Stay informed on these developments. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, and follow our in-depth analysis as events unfold.